It's a new year, a new season, and we are underway.
Really dominating fashion here today is going to win.
2, 3, 4 for the final time.
Win number 1 on the season, only just barely.
He is going to win here at the Las Speedway.
Wins the Emerson Electric 100K.
Gonna be Igor Barretto's gonna eke it out.
Cup Series champion is Shane Lake in the number 15.
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
We roll on, and now we're back on the West Coast here in the NOFSRL Cup Series after that wild race we had last Friday night for the first time on a Saturday in 2021. We run a points-paying race, and it's the good old classic Braille Battery 400 here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is the NOFSRL Cup Series, season number 10, presented by Valvoline. Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 4 in season 10 of the NOFSRL Cup Series. We are here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Braille Battery 400 as it has always been called, for 54 laps of action around this 1.5 mile speedway, the Diamond in the Desert of Las Vegas, Nevada. And we are in store for another great race here in the Cup Series. We had an excellent race last Friday night at Homestead, and I think we're going to be in store for something similar. Maybe not a last lap pass similar, but we've seen that here before at Vegas in the past. We see it again here today. Joining alongside Brendan Wilmington for the call of this race. Brendan, you saw what happened yesterday in the Turkey Hill National Series event, and passing was a little bit difficult in that series. However, the physics package here in Cup works a lot differently in Las Vegas, and I think we're going to see a lot more passing. But what's your opinion? Do you think we're going to see a lot of passing in this race like we saw last week at Homestead?
That is definitely something that I am expecting heading into this race. But like you said, the cup package is different than the Turkey Hill package. But what we saw in the Turkey Hill series is how dominant the inside line was. We saw multiple times guys who would lead multiple laps, and then as soon as somebody got to the inside of them, they'd lose several positions. I don't know if we're going to see that in this race in particular, but that's definitely something to watch out for.
Absolutely, and I think it is still going to be the case for these guys that outside lane doesn't work near as well, or let's just say doesn't hold near as well as it does at some other places here in Las Vegas, but at the same time, you can still get runs if you arc it in correctly. Some of these guys have been racing here ever since we started coming here in Season 3. They know how to do that. Other guys, they're kind of new to this business. We'll have to see how they all go down. I mean, one guy who was new to this business ended up winning last week in Ben Young. Only his third career start in the Cup Series, went to victory lane at Homestead. But then you got guys like Tristan Allen who've been in this series ever since he started. 208 races without a points-paying race victory. At some point, you got to think that's going to eventually... The luck's going to turn for Tristan Allen. He's won here before in the Truck Series, so we'll have to see. I shouldn't have mentioned it because it seems like every time I mention it, he comes close and then he doesn't get it. But we're just going to forget I said that. This is how they line up in the points coming into today's event. Nelson Reeves has had an excellent season so far as a rookie driver. 112 points towards the championship for the driver of the 05. Keegan Thompson, another guy's had an excellent season, only 11 points behind. Sebastian Kukulum starts on the outside pole here today. He's 13 points behind. Tristan Allen, 17 points behind. And Brock Nelson, we all thought Brandon Nelson was going to be the guy to watch out for this season, but his brother has been pretty good. 19 points behind coming into today's event. On the pole position, it is Las Vegas native Ryan Durrani for Full Frontal Motorsports. Got a wicked fast time in qualifying yesterday, and with that, he's going to lead us to the green flag here in this Braille Battery 400. Sebastian Kukulon, another veteran, starting alongside him there on the front row. Row number 2, we got the number 12 of Brett Sierra. And in a Dan Weldon tribute scheme, Shane Lake for Bartow Tuck Team Velocitar, defending champion, paying tribute to Dan Weldon, whom we unfortunately lost at this very racetrack nearly 10 years ago. But let's see if the spirit of Dan Weldon's going to take that 15 to victory lane here today. John Andrews, second start of the season as an uncharted driver there to the inside of Owen Miles. Ace Garcia and points leader Nelson Reeves in row number 4. Christopher Alphabee, Alexander Rowe round out the top 10 starting positions here in the Braille Battery 400 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Make sure everyone's rolling off, and it looks like they are. And Brennan, pretty stout field. A lot of younger guys starting up front, kind of like they did at Auto Club. Who do you think is going to go to victory lane here in this Braille Battery 400 at Las Vegas?
Well, I have not been the greatest with picks, but I have been looking at John Andrews. throughout qualifying. He was fast in uncharted qualifying. He was fast in chartered qualifying. I really think that 2 car has the speed to stay up front and maybe get a second uncharted car a win this season, as Ashton Boyd did at Fontana.
We're going to have to see if John Anders can do so. He's won before in this series, so it wouldn't be his first ever trip to victory lane. We're just going to have to see. We're in Sin City. Let's gamble. Las Vegas is underway here in the NOFSRL Cup Series. Green flag in the Braille Battery 400.
Ronnie with a good first couple corners, and Brett Sierras to the inside of Kukulon trying to take second away. Got John Andrews right behind him. Not much change in the top 5, and you can see the outside lane, just like in the Turkey Hill Series so far, not doing that great, as Ryan Durrani, the Las Vegas native, will lead the first lap.
And a bonus point towards the championship for that as well. Buck Racing teammates John Anders and Brett Sear on that inside lane as Kukulon falls back a little bit. Shane Lake really falling back there. Owen Miles has a nose to the inside of him, but he will find a line and find his way back on the inside. Top few guys already single file here in Las Vegas. They followed it down pretty quickly. Christopher Alfie falling back in the 6 machine with Nelson Reeves in the middle of all this as well. Ethan Lewis up here as well. And then you got Brad Stover, the 99 machine, who hasn't won in over 2 seasons, or nearly 2 seasons, I should say, there for Titan Fury Motorsports. But Ryan Durrani, Las Vegas native, holding on to this race lead here with Brett Sierra, Sebastian Kukulano up to 3rd, John Andrews in 4th, and Ace Garcia, who hasn't won in even longer time than Brad Stover. It's been since Season 7 at Kentucky since Garcia's gone to victory lane, and he's driving for the all-time winningest owner on Napa Fan. For 2nd, Kukulon on Brett Sierra.
Kukulon gets back to the inside of Brett Sierra, as I was going to say that they had pretty much sorted it out towards the front, and they sorted it out really quickly. The top 7 cars broke away, and Kukulon and Sierra racing against each other is really helping Durrani open up the gap on the lead.
Yeah, we saw this happen yesterday in the Turkey Hill National Series race. They battled for second quite a bit in that one, and it allowed the leaders to pull away. However, once they got back to single file, they were able to close back in, so Durrani's not going to pull away with this one, more than likely. We'll just have to see how it all goes down. Sierra went really wide off the corner there, and he's still in a battle with Kukulon in that outside lane. If you get stuck up in the marbles, you're not going to go anywhere, and that's what happened with Brett Sierra. Really had to check up to the corner. He's going to lose a ton of ground right there. Ace Garcia, Shane Lake in the move to the inside from right there. Great to see this scheme running up front here in Las Vegas. Got Owen Miles here, Eli Bright, LJ Semedo, a lot of guys who have never won before in this series or haven't won in a long time up front in this race, including Ryan Durrani. He's never won before in the Cup Series here in this sophomore year. Be pretty cool to see him win at his home racetrack here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that definitely would be cool to see. Winning at your home track means a little bit extra than winning anywhere else, but he's got to hold off these guys. This is still really early in the race. We've got a battle back here. Brett Sierra, who after washing up in the corner lost a lot of positions. And now we have a battle between Shane Lake and Ace Garcia. That is for the 4th position. Garcia will hold him off at the line.
Shane Lake doing a great job here today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Of course, I would like to mention we do have a cycle of pit stops in today's race, expecting a similar fuel window to how it was at Homestead, about 29 to 32 laps roughly. It'll be past halfway, so should only have one stop as Kukulon right to the inside of Durrani for the top position. And Kukulon's going to take it right away. It's been since Season 8 at Bristol since Kukulon has won. You might be wondering, how come I know all this already? I compiled the list of longest losing streaks in this series for active drivers a couple days ago, and now that's stuck in my head. If you want to go see that, it's somewhere in the NOFSRL Cup Series chat in the Discord. But nobody comes close to Tristan Allen, as some guys moving down to the inside there. Not entirely sure what happened, but I see Andrew Miller down the pit lane. That was kind of interesting to see those guys take that interesting line. I'm wondering if somebody up here had some sort of an issue or not. My theory is that Andrew Miller stopped on the backstretch and these guys were at least reacting to a void. But they keep it green. We're still under the green flag here, and we keep rolling here in the Braille Battery 400, so it must not have been too much of an issue, but it's a tough break for Andrew Miller. He is now a lap down in the 24 machine, and he will probably stay there here in this event. John Andrews and Ryan Durrani, my goodness. That was a save right there out of John Andrews. He's going to lose some momentum as Shane Lake closes in the 15 machine, but that could have been a massive accident there off of turn 4.
And John Andrews and Ryan Durrani battling for second just got into each other, and that was, once again, a great save by John Andrews, but he's under pressure. Shane Lake now, who, again, has been having a really good run, would love to see him do well in that Dan Weldon tribute scheme.
Yeah, and John Andrews went wide again through the corner there. I think that thing maybe a little bit loose off the corner, maybe a little bit tight off the corner, I should say, but doesn't look like it's set up too well right now. Brett Sear is 5th, LJ Cimento, Brad Stover, Eli Bright, Owen Miles, and Nathan Baird round out the top 10. Season 8 champ right there for Velocistar Racing. Got Ace Garcia, Sam Adowskin, Brandon Nelson with a great run. There's Braden Perez. A lot of guys who haven't won too much in this series running up front here today. A little edgy back in there. You got Keegan Thompson in the middle, Fisher G, Cameron Garlington, Logan Williams, kind of midway through the field right here. There's Gatlin Downey in the 40 machine. Take a look at the rest of the field. And like I said, there's Sam Adeo, Fitzwater, McMillan, Turner, Dalio, Sill, Troxel. Our last winner, Ben Young, deep in the field for this one. As Miller's getting back out there in the 24, we might want to watch out for this one because these guys are going to try to swarm him here. He might have had a tire go down possibly, and that may have been the issue that we saw earlier on. Turner won this race last year here at Las Vegas. Deep in the field right now for the Outer Island drivers. He's 29th right now. And you see the rest of these guys. Tristan Allen deep in the field as well. Alonzo deep in the field. Rutkowski, Patrick Smith back in there as well. 41 drivers in the lead lap. Andrew Miller 4 laps down after he had his issue and had to come down the pit lane. There goes Sear to the inside of Shane Lake. That is for the 4th position. Here comes LJ Cimento as well in the 66 machine. The only 2 guys, I should say the only 3 guys inside this top 6 who have won before are Kukulon, John Andrews, and Shane Lake. Most recent winner of those guys is Shane Lake in the number 15. But Kukulon and Andrews have not won since Season 8. Durrani's never won before, Sear's never won before, and neither has Cimento. But none of these guys are rookies. They all have had at least one full season. As a matter of fact, a lot of these guys came in last season. And they're running very well here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as Durrani goes back to the inside for the race lead.
Ronnie is getting back to the inside to retake the lead from Sebastian Kukulon. He might lead that lap. He does. He's got John Andrews behind him. And you mentioned that list of drivers who haven't won in a while. With all these drivers who haven't won in a while that are up here, I would expect that list to change maybe after this race. And here comes John Andrews trying to go for the lead from 3rd place. It is a 4-car battle for the lead now, as Andrews has help from his teammate Sierra behind him, and it's going to be John Andrews leading it at the line with help from Brett Sierra.
And Brett Sierra might go ahead and try to take that lead away. He doesn't care about his Uncharted teammate, he cares about himself here. But Andrews going to get a good run there through the middle. Sierra had to check up on the inside, and Durrani may actually stay ahead of the 12 machine here. It's going to be interesting when we get to green flag pit stops, considering, assuming that we stay green until then. We've had a couple of close moments, especially involving John Andrews so far in this race, but we remain green here at Las Vegas. But definitely going to be interesting once we get the green flag pit stops. And we saw yesterday in the Turkey Hill National Series race, the instant they started green flag stops, we had a spin in the back and the caution came out. Thankfully, they did not set anyone on the tail end of the lead lap or trap anybody a lap down, but definitely something to keep in mind. It's a difficult pit lane to come down here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, so these guys have to be careful if they're going to have an opportunity at staying up front in this race. Guys have closed in on each other here. How about this? Shane Lake, Owen Miles, they're all kind of in a line right now. Brad Stover there, along with the 54 of Nathan Baird. That's the top 10. Brandon Nelson just outside the top 10 with Garcia, Braden Perez, Sam Adowskin, Alex and Rowe around the 15th position there. And you got Garlington and Downey and Stapleton there kind of in the middle. And we saw some guys, because of that caution coming out yesterday, gain a lot of ground because of that yellow flag. They were some of the first guys to come down, and those guys who came down under that first cycle, they were the ones who got the advantage on the rest of the field. So if we see something like that again here today, watch out for some guys in the middle of the field to possibly gain some positions and have a shot at this race victory down the road. Not even halfway through this race yet here in the Braille Battery 400 at Las Vegas. How about Eli Bright? Eli's been in this series for a long time, has never won before. This is 3rd season, has yet to go to victory lane. He'd love to do so here today at Las Vegas.
for sure. And going back to the pit road thing, again, we saw that incident that happened off of Turn 4 in the Turkey Hill Series. And we also saw an incident kind of like that in qualifying with Durrani. So I really think that that's something to watch for once these guys do start heading down pit road, to see if there ends up being any incidents due to miscommunication between drivers over who's coming in and who's staying out. But that would definitely, again, be something to look out for.
Full Frontal Motorsport teammates battling it out. Durrani going to get the advantage there on Eli Bright. Meanwhile, it's Buck Racing teammates out front. John Andrews, the uncharted driver for this team, looking to make it 50-50 this year between full-time guys and uncharted guys. That'd be something else this early on in the season to have 2 uncharted race winners. In Season 7, we had 3 winners who were uncharted that year. That's the most we have ever had in any season of the NOFSRL Cup Series. Season 8, we didn't have any. We had 1 last year with Carter Friesen. And now we've already had 1 this year. May get a second one here today, and only the 4th race. Brett Sear, though, trying to hold on. How about LJ Semedo? He's had a pretty solid season so far. Had a great run at Auto Club. Had a great run in the Daytona 500. Comes into this race 10th in points, and if he stays where he is right now, he'll be higher than that heading into Phoenix next weekend. So definitely looking forward to see what LJ Semedo does this season. He has had a great sophomore campaign, and a lot of these guys, Brett Sierra, LJ Semedo, Ryan Durrani, Shane Lake, they're all in their second full-time season here, and they're all inside the top 6 right now. And one of those 4 guys could easily go to victory lane here today at Las Vegas.
I've been watching the 66 of LJ Semedo. He's been slowly making his way through the field, and we now have a battle for the lead. Brett Sierra and John Andrews, teammates. Sierra peeks to the inside, but Andrews gets a good run off the corner, and he's going to keep the lead. And now he's under pressure from Semedo. Like I said, he has been slowly moving through the field.
Contact right there.
Oh, they make contact in turn number 3. That could have ended badly, but thankfully they collected it.
No, Sierra's not going to be too happy about that one. LJ Semedo getting in. We've seen a couple of close calls in this race. Bit surprised we've yet to see a wreck. Hey, that's a good thing if you think about it. But we could have had a wreck right there between Semedo and Sierra, and we're closing in on pit stops here. So just past halfway, about 29, 32 laps. It could be more of a 27, 29 lap fuel window, depending on how I have it all set up. They run through the fuel pretty fast here in Las Vegas, but then again, it's about the same as everywhere else. So what am I talking about? Here comes Eli Bright, up to second. This 33 is fast. He started outside the top 10 for this race, as far as I know, and now he's up to second here on lap 25 of 54. A huge opportunity for Bright to get his first career win, but they're all chasing John Andrews. And funny enough, even though he's the uncharted driver, he's the only guy inside the top 5 as of right now who has won in this series before. Go figure, came to Talladega season number 8. John Andrews definitely an experienced veteran, the most experienced guy inside this top 5, no doubt about it. There's Kukulon, Shane Lake, Owen Miles, Brad Stover, and Nathan Bear. And the back half of the top 5 has relatively remained the same. I'd watch out for those guys later on in this event. Take a look back through the field here. There's Ben Young, won last week. Complete opposite end of the spectrum for him this week here at Las Vegas. Definitely a bit of a tougher track than Homestead, I feel like. It's Homestead, you can get into a rhythm. Here, it's a little bit harder because these corners are tight, and sometimes these guys make some mistakes. And you saw right there, Semedo just tapped the outside wall. It's a difficult track. Even though it's a standard cookie-cutter track, it is one of the more difficult tracks to run around here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Next time by, it's dab spam time, halfway through the Braille Battery 400 in Las Vegas.
Yep, and Eli Bright is slowly tracking down John Andrews here. He's just slowly reeling him in, but like you said, pit stops are going to be coming up here soon. We might even see some drivers pit now, and here comes Bright. Like, as I mentioned it, Bright, Sierra, Kukulon, and
and around goes the 29 of Braden Perez through the grass. He will get back out there and avoid calamity. That was close.
That was close. We've had a lot of close calls in that race, but that was definitely closer. Good job by Braden Perez. Not creating incidents.
There's damage there on Ethan Lewis. I'm not entirely sure what happened to him. We remain green here at Las Vegas. Race leader still John Andrews. And now things really are going to get interesting. These guys got to be careful. Boy, they have to slow. The guys who are staying out have to slow down. They're going to lose a ton of time because of that. And you see Brandon Nelson, Gatlin down, he had to check up. You might as well just come down if you're going to slow down that much. But green flag pit stop's going on right at halfway, so I would imagine these guys should be able to make it to the end of the race without any issue. So yeah, like I was right, about 27, 29 laps. Instead, Sierra got out ahead of Eli Bright right there. That 12 machine's going to be fast here off the cycle of pit stops. Ryan Durrani here, he was up front, same with John Andrews. I don't know if any of these guys got held up the lap before when Eli Bright, Brett Sear, and those guys had to come down. So if that's the case, they're going to lose some time to the race leaders. And I imagine we're going to see, actually still have a few guys out there. Who am I kidding? These are the guys who would already come down the pit lane. Never fails, does it? There's Brett Sear, LJ Semedo, and I think that should be John Andrews, but I would imagine Sierra's going to beat the two off. And once this cycle's through, I believe we're going to see Brett Sierra take charge of this race here in the Braille Battery 400 at Las Vegas. There's Kukulon on Eli Bright for what will eventually be the third position. Semedo will be fifth once this all cycles through. These guys, a lot of these guys got held up the last time around. Owen Miles first off of those guys, but Sierra's going to drive right by him. And it'll cycle to Brett Sierra, being the new race leader here in the Braille Battery 400 at Las Vegas.
Yeah, great pit stop by Brett Sierra, and you saw a lot of those guys get held up by the people who decided to pit, almost caused an accident multiple times, but fortunately they got through clean. Unfortunately for the guys who stayed out, they lost a lot of time, and it might take them out of contention for this race. Sierra has about a half-second lead over his teammate, John Andrews. We'll see if he can be able to maintain the gap, or if Andrews will be able to close back in on him.
I think these guys will close back in, no doubt about it. We may also end up with some guys who end up 11. How about this? Jesse Turner has found himself inside the top 10. Winner of this race last year, and he is coming fast in that 77. About 4.5 seconds off right now. That's plenty of time to close back into the race lead if they pull the right strategy. So we're going to have to see. Andrew Miller is still multiple laps down in the 24 machine, and Zachary Fitzwater 6 laps down. Fitzy had an issue, and I believe he is out of the race for Grattan Racing. Tough break for the Daytona 500 champion. Also have Owen Miles a lap down there in the 22 machine, so he had an issue. So even though he's with the leaders, he is not battling for position. So keep that in mind. It's Sierra, Andrews, and Kukulon. Top 3 right now. Then you got Semedo and Eli Bright, 4th and 5th. Turner has just gotten around Durrani for 6th. And let me tell you, my friend, Turner looks fast. He's got a bit of a ways to get to the front, but he's got 22 laps to do it. As for the lead, John Andrews underneath his teammate for the top position on lap 33.
Andrews back to the inside. It's always nice to see Jesse Turner running well, but more importantly, this battle for the lead, Andrews on the inside, and he might breeze by him unless Sierra gets a run off the corner, and it's getting tight back there with Sebastian Kukulon and the lap car of Owen Miles. Andrews has the advantage now, and I assume he's going to take the lead coming out of turn number 4, and it looks like he will. New leader, John Andrews.
Owen Miles throwing a monkey wrench into this lead battle is, like I mentioned, he's a lap down in that 22 machine, so he's getting in the way of these guys right now. So Sierra's still second. Here comes LJ Semedo for that second position. Kukulon may make it 3 wide. He's got a nose in between those guys. Will he take it? He will not. Sierra's going to stay ahead. I'm looking at this 77, guys. He closed in half a second that last lap. Durrani, Shane Lake, Fisher G, Brad Stover, they're all there. These guys are experienced veterans. Even though Durrani's never won before, he's had a great race so far. I just don't know. Now that Andrews is out ahead with no competition, it is possible we could see that gap start to decrease a little bit, and we did just there, so if these guys stay single file, Turner and those guys are going to have no chance. They're going to need a caution, but I don't think we're done with the passes for the race lead in this race, even if it isn't technically for the race lead. Owen Miles looking pretty fast right here. He wants to get his lap back, hope for a caution to come out, and possibly get it back, and we almost had a caution right there. Semedo and Sierra almost getting into each other right there. Semedo going to hit the inside of Brett Sierra there for second.
That's the second time these two have gotten into each other in this race. I'm sure they're not very happy with each other. But fortunately, none of that has resulted in a crash, and Kukulon is going to reap the benefits, trying to get by both of them here. to take over the second position. He has Eli Bright
wide.
behind him.
Eli Bright, Kukulon Semedo, it'll get a contact there almost off the corner. You know, considering this race has gone caution-free, I am amazed that these guys, you know, we've had so many instances where it should have been a wreck. And you know, all this is doing at this point is allowing John Andrews to just scoot right away with this race lead. It's almost a second now for John Andrews. These guys continue to battle like they're racing for the lead. And if they're not careful, they'll end up bringing out a caution. I think that's what these guys want to see. And we may almost get it the way these guys are racing here. But 38 laps into this race, no yellow as of yet. And John Andrews hopes it stays that way here in this event. He's looking for his second career NOFSRL Cup Series race victory, looking to become the second uncharted driver already this season to win an NOFSRL Cup Series race. He has had a stellar weekend in qualifying and uncharted qualifying and everything around. He's done everything right this weekend here in Las Vegas, looking to get his second career win.
Even if these second through fifth place guys do kind of sort it out, which it looks like they have, as Kukulon has cleared these guys, they still will have to pass the lap car of Owen Miles, so that's just one extra obstacle for them to get by. So I'm sure John Andrews, he's in a great spot right now, but it's all a matter of if these guys can end up catching him at the end of this race, because there is still a good amount of laps left to track him down.
Yeah, 14 laps to go this time around for John Andrews in the number 2. And he does continue to increase that gap ahead of Sebastian Kukulon, Brett Sear, LJ Semedo, and Eli Bright. Turner has been keeping pace with Andrews, though. These guys have kept it clean. They've been single file a majority of this race, but these guys, you might want to watch for these guys right here. You got Stapleton, Nathan Smith there, Matt Daly in the middle of all this here. Some of these guys from the back of the field have moved their way up fairly well here today. I will say that, but hasn't been all fun and games for everybody here at Las Vegas. Got Keegan Thompson with a solid run just outside the top 10. There's Fisher G. He had a good run off the pit lane. Ace Garcia, Andrew Miller's a couple laps down. Alexander Rose kind of been around this position, this 14th position all day. But Stapleton, Dalio, Brock Nelson, they're going to go three wide.
It's getting chaotic in the middle of the field as Dalio was in the middle of 3 wide with Brock Nelson and Nathan Stapleton, but they file it back down to 2 wide. And, Brock's going to get to the inside now, but by that point, Dalio's cleared Stapleton. So we're still racing like crazy back here, so I would not be surprised if we get a caution towards the end of this thing.
It's been caution-free the whole day, but it's far from being over. Kukulon starting to close in a little bit here. It was about 1.4 seconds, now 1.14 seconds. But Owen Miles is going to be the guy, I think, that makes or breaks this. But the thing is, I don't think Owen Miles is actually going to close in to John Andrews. I don't think he's got the speed to do so. That number 2 machine is really fast. But Kukulon is also fast. I think he's starting to get a bit of a pull from Miles here. Would not be surprised if Kukulon managed to find his way to the back bumper of Miles. The big question is, how much will Miles hold him up? I think he's hoping for Owen Miles to find a way around John Andrews, which is possible. Miles taking a higher line here, trying to get a run off the corner. He's actually going to get a bit of momentum here on John Andrews. 10 laps to go. It's far from over here in the Braille Battery 400. Caution-free so far. I don't know if this race has ever gone caution-free before. But it's been a good race. No doubt about it. Been a fun one here. If we go caution-free, going to be the first caution-free race of the season in any series so far this year on Napa Fans. So we've yet to have a caution-free race. Have to see how it all goes down in these final 10 laps. John Andrews continuing the lead as an uncharted driver. Did he use up his stuff, though? That's a big question. Miles still hanging in there with him. I would imagine Miles about a half a second behind. The thing is, he's a lap down, so we don't exactly know the exact measurement, but Kukulon is closing in. Now less than a second for the veteran driver on John Andrews.
Kukulon gained almost 2/10 there on that last...
Yeah, I think you're right. About 2/10 there.
He gained almost 2/10 on that last lap. But Owen Miles is either going to be John Andrews' best friend or worst enemy right here, depending on what he does, and he's really closing in on him. He might try to pass him, and if that's the case, that'll allow Kukulon to really reel him in, coming down to 7 laps to go.
And Kukulon is definitely closing in. Miles is closing in as well. I think this 22 is faster. And if you're John Andrews, you probably want to let him go at a place where you're not going to lose too much time. But that's difficult to do here in Las Vegas. You got to hit your marks at this track, and if you don't do so, you're going to lose a lot of time. Thing is, though, Kukulon's still a little ways behind here. Miles has closed up to John Andrews, but Andrews was able to pull away from Kukulon that last lap. The big question is, will Miles get around Andrews? Because we're closing in on the point of no return in this race, so if we get a caution, it's not going to do anything. Less than a second between Andrews and Kukulon. Next time by, 6 laps to go in the Braille Battery 400. If a caution were to come out now, we would still have a restart. But the way this race has been going, especially considering these guys are as spread out as they are, I would imagine we should be good to go in terms of green flag racing here today. So a caution-free race here in Las Vegas. Will John Andrews get the second uncharted win of the season here in the Cup Series?
It's looking pretty likely if he just keeps doing what he's doing and
He's
has
way
Owen
up the
Miles.
track. Kukulon's going to gain a lot of time on both of these guys, and now it's on. 5 to go
boy.
at Vegas for John Andrews.
Costly mistake there by John Andrews, or at least it could be. Kukulon really closed in a ton after they both washed up the track, Andrews and Miles did. And Miles is right on his back bumper. Not be surprised if he tried to pass him at some point. It's getting really... I'm sure Andrews is getting really nervous there in the car, but he just needs to keep his cool and just drive the race car.
We're going to have to see what John Andrews can do. 4 laps to go this time by for John Andrews. Kukulon, the closest he's ever been. He actually lost a little bit of time that last lap. I think Andrews did regain his poise right there. At this point, too, I think it's difficult for these guys to make a pass, because they're single file in line right here. The tires, they're pretty much even for all these guys. John Andrews looking to pull away with this one here for Buck Racing. Owen Miles there in the 22 machine, though, trying once again. Going to try to run the outside. Now, this is where things are going to get kind of interesting. That's John Andrews' teammate, Ethan Lewis, in the 11. And with 3 laps to go, it looks like they're probably going to close into him before the end of this race. This could get really interesting between teammates. Andrews going to have to work on the outside here, but he has pulled away from Owen Miles and Kukulon, so I just don't think, only unless something drastic happens, that anyone's going to catch up to Andrews in this race. It'll be 2 laps to go this time by here in the Braille Battery 400 in Las Vegas. John Andrews still holding on to the race lead with Owen Miles, a lap machine in between him and second place. Sebastian Kukulon, his teammate, closing in as a lap car. Will he be slow enough to affect this race lead here at Las Vegas?
I think it's looking pretty good for John Andrews at this point. He might... I don't know if he will catch him, actually, because Ethan Lewis isn't running that much slower than him. But I think, Andrews only has 1 lap to go. I think he has it made.
White flag in the air here in the Braille Battery 400 at Las Vegas for John Andrews. How about these uncharted drivers this season in the NOFSRL Cup Series? Ashland Boyd and John Andrews, they're probably 2 guys who deservingly, should have a full-time ride in this series. I will say that. Owen Miles, though, is going to try a pass here on the last lap of the race. He's to the inside of John Andrews, but Andrews going to power down on the outside lane. Miles sliding up into Andrews. Oh, boy. He almost lost it, but he won't. John Andrews going to hold on. Second uncharted driver to win this season. John Andrews wins the Braille Battery 400 here in Las Vegas. Owen Miles waited to the exact last lap, and Kukulon's probably thinking, why didn't you try it at the lap before? Second uncharted driver to win this season. His name is John Andrews with his second career NOFSRL Cup Series race victory here today in the Braille Battery 400.
Yeah, that was a bit tense right on the last lap. I'm sure if Owen Miles did that a lap earlier, Kukulon would have been there, but great drive for John Andrews. I called it pre-race.
You did it. He may be the first one who's ever gotten it right. Congratulations.
Yeah.
John Andrews.
Called it pre-race.
How about that for the veteran driver? He's been racing on my channel for ages. Great to see him get another race victory here in the NOFSRL Cup Series. As far as I know, I don't think he's going to be in the hot seat next week. I don't think he had a good run I can't remember what happened in the race yesterday. Sebastian Kukulon, LJ Cemento, Eli Bright, Brett Sierra, Jesse Turner, Shane Lake, Keegan Thompson, Brad Stover, Fisher G. That's the top 10 here from Vegas. To take a look at the rest of the results right there, a caution-free race here at Las Vegas. First caution-free race of the season. Very interesting race, though. Once Andrews got off, he actually, Andrews ended up passing Brett Sierra, and that was it. Andrews just had the faster car there at the end. But Owen Miles almost lost it. Miles ended up getting his lap back. He managed to stay on the lead lap there, even though it didn't award him any points. He managed to stay on the lead lap right there at the end. That's pretty cool. Obviously, we saw Miller have his issue, and Zachary Fitzwater with an issue as well on the 14 machine. Tough break for those guys. It did not work out as would have expected for those guys, but they started in the back of this field anyway. Nelson Reeves, their points leader, finished 32nd. Second place, Keegan Thompson, finished 8th. I think Keegan Thompson's going to be your new points leader heading into Phoenix next week. But, man, you own a Turkey Hill National Series team. One of your Turkey Hill National Series drivers ended up winning a race. I mean, what's with these Uncharted drivers, these Turkey Hill National Series guys? Are they better than the Cup drivers?
I'm telling you, this year's Turkey Hill National Series field is pretty stacked. We might see another Uncharted driver win one of these things. It's still so early in the season. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happened. And Andrews, this was not a fluke by any means. Andrews was fast in qualifying, in Uncharted qualifying, and he was fast in the race. He just had the best car, and the best car won today.
And Chase Buck gets a win as an owner, so that's another new owner getting a win with an Uncharted driver this season. How about that? For my dad, Chase Buck there. Great job for that team. Hey, they also had a good run with Brett Sierra, too. They're finishing in the 5th position. I don't know. It's such a strange season up to this point. Those Uncharted guys, they're fast. That's all I got to say. We're going to have to see what they do next week when we head to the Phoenix Raceway, Castrol 500K. That's going to be an interesting race. It's not known for passing. So whoever gets the pole for that race, they're going to have a good shot at the race victory. Should be fun. 63 laps there around that mile-long racetrack. The only race that we have at Phoenix, as Turkey Hill National is going to be at Willow Springs next Friday. But thank you guys so much for watching. Been a great weekend here from Las Vegas, and we'll be back next week from the Phoenix Raceway in the Cup Series and Willow Springs in the Turkey Hill National Series, and looking forward to the season cup continuing on. And then the weekend after that, it's Atlanta. I'm really looking forward to Atlanta. That is going to be a great weekend. A lot of great racing at that racetrack there. But either way, here are the points for the NOFSRL Cup Series after 4 races. We're just getting started here. We're still early on in the season. And, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching here from the Braille Battery 400 at Las Vegas. On behalf of Brendan Wilmington, congratulations to John Andrews, your race winner here at Las Vegas in the 4th race of the season, his 2nd career Cup Series race victory. And we will see you guys next week with a Castrol 500K from Phoenix. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys later.